The first thing I want you to get about your emotions is notice whose emotions are they?
Can we
Ex-
back up one space?
Let's back up one space. Yeah.
What do you mean willing to take a look?
Um,
Say I'm angry. I'm reactive. That guy's a fucking asshole.
cool.
And I'm
Uh,
pissed, obviously, and he's pissing me off because he's a fucking asshole. Did you hear what he did? Are you serious?
I did hear what he did.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Are you? But you asked me like, what am I mean? Are you willing to take a look? Are you
Yeah.
willing
How,
to?
how do I take a look?
How do you look? Well, you know that emotion that you're having, the anger.
Mm.
Can you describe it to me?
Ah, yeah. I get hot. You know when I feel hot and I just want to hurt him.
Okay. And then can you describe the experience that you have more? Like, do you have thoughts that go along with it?
Yeah.
What is that experience like?
Yeah. I just want to slap that jerk.
Okay.
And
See it. All right.
yeah, and I'm oh yeah, I get uh tension in my shoulders and my neck.
Okay. Can you also notice that along with anger comes pain?
Yeah, actually.
He just took a look. That's
Yeah.
like taking a look. You wait a minute. Is there more going on about this emotion that I'm not seeing?
Mm.
And the place where you look for that is right in where it is right in the middle of your experience of the emotion itself.
Mm. So it's
And
not where he is, it's not where the cause of my emotion is or where
right, the cause will also be in your experience. And so the first one of the huge hurdles I think with emotions is to check out that you think they're caused by external circumstances.
circumstances, not you.
But notice that notice that the circumstance is there in your experience, and then there's the emotion in your experience. But then I want to invite you to consider, now you have to take a hard look. There's a third component. Pause for effect. The you part. The you part that you don't see, kind of thing. I'm breaking it down in simplistic terms. There's the cause of the emotion, there's the emotion itself, and then there's the you having the emotion, the place where the emotions come from in you. Because it does seem that way, doesn't it? Like, usually at first blush, because we're so fast at creating and generating the emotions, it looks like I do something, you feel something. So this causes that, but it doesn't be, or consider that it does not. That actually, and we can do a thought experiment to prove that, because if I do this to you and it means something to you, fuck you, but somebody who does not know what that means will not have that emotion because it doesn't mean anything to them because they're built different than the other person. And you've seen that even two people seeing the same circumstance happen can have two very different emotional reactions. So that means that the emotional reaction is not caused by the thing. There's a third thing. There's the them part, the you part. So to take somebody from zero to start to look, notice in your experience, not like a thought, but in your experience, you have the cause of the emotion itself, and then part three, you. And then I would say, what's the you part? Now
Mm.
you have to take a look at you. Why are you built? What way are you such that that emotion is something that is coming up? And the more I look into this for myself, the more I realize that I'm the source of my emotions, not my external circumstances. Then, ergo, I'm doing the emotion in relationship to what I perceive as external circumstances. Et voila. Hmm?
Yeah, little V in
Pronunciation
there.
rough, huh?
That's, uh,
And then in either case, so you can do that with your emotions. And in either case, you need to take action regardless of how you feel. You can feel shitty and take action, or you can feel good and take action. It really doesn't matter. That's another thing you can consider.
and could they try that? Could people try that? Like experiment with that. Like you feel bad about something.
Oh, yeah.
You feel tired, you need to clean the house. Try just cleaning a little bit even though you feel tired and see if you drop dead.
Yeah. Yeah. See if you can handle it. Like you can test shit out. Be like an investigator. And another thing that I've a kick that I've been on about this is there's consequences to stuff. If you're feeling tired, but you clean the house anyway, notice how you feel when you're done.
Hmm.
You might fucking like it. You don't know.
Maybe you're tired because the house isn't clean. That's
Yeah.
tiring.
Maybe you're tired because you've been sitting down for too long.
Yeah.
Like I was tired the other night and I had laundry. I was like, and so I walked up to I had to get it. So I walked up there, but I wanted to just lay down, but I had to get it because it was my bed sheets. So in order for me to lay down more, I needed to make the bed. But in either case, by the time I got up to where the laundry is, I felt better. I'm like, oh, I'm walking. It's a nice night outside. And I was like, what was all that shit what I was doing before?
Yeah.
I wasn't actually tired.
So how can we connect that? How does that getting to recognize you're the creator of an emotion in your own experience, how does that connect to realizing that you're the creator in your life, that you can create in your life as opposed to just living out of a limited range of, or how did he put it? How did
Yeah, how did
Diego
Diego?
put it? um yeah, versus just avoiding loss. You're just trying to avoid loss versus, but like going from stepping out of that to, yeah, I'm not just avoiding loss, I'm actually up to something here. There's something I see that's better, I'm going for that.
So what? Ask your question again. What?
Yeah, how do we connect? I want to get back to Diego's question
Yeah.
and recognizing that you are creating your emotions, that you're creating your experience in some way. How does that connect to, all right, I'm not just living out of loss aversion. I'm living for something. I'm creating something. What I
How
want.
does that connect? I don't know, but about regarding loss aversion versus creating something, notice when you're doing one and the other, and do the other. Like, oh, I'm doing loss aversion again. Okay, create something, and
Mm,
then keep creating stuff. I think it's useful to have a clear goal or at least a direction in which to move. If you
mm-hmm,
don't have that, then I would say create that. That would be a good start. What do you want to do? Are you doing that? No. Do you know the first step toward doing that? Yeah, I could do this. Good. Go do it. Do you know the next thing to do? No, but do you know the direction? Yes. What's something small you could do? The smallest thing. Maybe you like all you can squeak out is like a push up or something. Do it. I don't know. That's where I go. We could cut it and just make it real simple. How do you do that? You do it. Do you have something you want to do? No. Well, then do anything.
mm,
If you want to get up to creating something, do you know the thing that you want to create or at least the direction? If not, get clear on that. So the first thing to do is get clear. And then, as Peter's been preaching to me, take action, do it, do stuff. and then do it more. How's that? Does that answer the question? Or does that?
I don't know, because we were just supposed to talk about it. There was no
Oh yeah,
question.
that's true. Thanks, Diego. You left it very open ended. We are talking about it for sure.
Here's some others. There's some others
Yeah,
in
sure.
here. Yeah. Let's see.
How you doing time wise?
Yeah, I'm okay because I'm fine. I had a cancellation and I don't
Yeah.
have to do the next thing.
Okay.
That's a little bit.
Thanks for writing in the comments, by the way. I want to encourage you to write more in the comments. Do your best to write true things, honest things, like what you're really curious about, what you really want to know, and or what you really noticed.
I got another one from Mr. Red Anvil.
Mr. Red Anvil, what you got?
All right, he's got a quizzical emoji going.
Now we're assuming, oh, it's Mr. Red Anvil, not Mrs.
Says Mr.
Okay.
Says Mr. Red Anvil, and I'm not gonna do
what if
any
it's
gender reassignment.
Miss Red Anvil?
Well, it says MR.
MRR?
If it MRR, yeah.
Oh,
if it was Miss,
Mr.
it'd
Red.
say MS.
Yeah, I'm just messing
It'd
around
say
because we don't know.
No, Mr. Red is not misread.
Yeah.
Mr. Red is
I see
correctly
what you
read.
did there.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, quizzically, with a quizzical emoji, he says,
Okay.
seems like you guys are heavily leaning on the phrase of manipulation, i.e., having to do with communication, which essentially seems to be some kind of bias that other people do not have quote unquote free will when you are communicating to them. It is a complex topic and discussion, but seems like a lean towards other people are victims when we just communicate to them. Seems like some form of hyper responsibility ideal idea that you guys are promoting. Are we promoting? That was confusing language for me.
I don't
didn't
even
quite get it.
know what you're asking.
I think, okay. So I think it says it seems like some form of hyper responsibility ideal.
Got to stop right there. What is the it?
Whatever we're promoting. And I think it has to do, if I'm right.
What are we promoting? We are, I know what we're promoting.
What are we promoting?
Workshops.
Hey, consciousness workshops.
Yeah. Calm down or train some martial arts. Come do some work.
All right. Seems like you guys are heavily leaning on the phrase of manipulation. So
let's just take that. I'm just gonna cut that and we'll talk.
What do we mean by manipulation?
What do we mean by manipulation? Good, not question, but we're gonna turn that into a question because we can. And yeah, manipulation. If you look it up, basically means to handle with skill. To manipulate. That's all.
Man is the word for hand.
Hand.
Yeah.
And then ipulate. I don't like. Yeah, I don't know the rest of like manus. Manus, I think in Latin is hand. Manipulate, handle with skill. Yeah. Now from the workshops, from the the ENB workshop, like experiencing the nature of being, we look into we use the word to point at a distinction. Okay. So it's not the word that we mean. The word is the sound we say, manipulate. What is that in French? Do you know that in French?
Manipulation.
Manipulation. You see how it sounds different? It probably has a different feel. I don't know what it is in other languages. It is a different sound and it likely feels different. So now we're not talking about the sound. We're talking about something. Like if I say there's a bird, I point at the bird. You look at the thing that I'm pointing to. The sound is a pointer. Like all language is like a pointer. So what are we pointing at then? Well, One of the things you can notice is that it's what you do in reality. Stuff happens. You have a bad feeling. What do you do about the feeling? You manipulate yourself. You manipulate your body to do things, to feed you, to get laid, to have a job. You manipulate. I am manipulating my vocal cords right now to talk. I'm manipulating my mind to have thoughts and stuff. So manipulation simply means like what you do about reality or what you do about the perceived reality in which you find yourself.
Even perception is a manipulation.
Correct.
But it's the doing, not the being. There's a
Like
distinction
that.
between being and doing, and it's
Yeah.
all the doing, and
It's
there's a
just
lot of
all the
doing.
doing. So what that's what we mean when we say manipulation. Now what the normal meaning of manipulation is usually something covert, socially unacceptable that I'm doing to manipulate in a sleazy way somebody else so that I get my way. This is not what we mean. Although that is also a manipulation. It's that like that kind of manipulation or teaching, for example, is a manipulation. It's all manipulation. Like when I'm a, you see it, do you see how that sounds bad? Right?
Well, I think there may in the workshops that I remember, this distinction manipulation, like, because we could just use the word doing. We could use the word doing, but I
Yeah.
think there's a reason to use the word manipulation in that there's this kind of changing, that there is a covert, like, we hide from ourselves so much of what we do, and there is a covert aspect of that.
And or ignore or we are ignorant of. So one, yes, we hide stuff from ourselves
And,
and we are ignorant of a lot of stuff.
yeah, we ignore how we manipulate ourselves to assume a persona that isn't really us, but we start to believe that it is, to manipulate other people's perception of us that we imagine are there, which may or may not be there, to
Yeah, we
get
don't know
certain outcomes that we
that are,
think will make us happy or at least not die, and they don't even do that, or they kind of do, but it's all so many levels of manipulation. And I think there was an intention to put that word on it because it kind of highlights, like, ugh, I'm not totally comfortable with that. I want to look into it deeper
yeah, Peter has
and
literally
see.
said, he's like, I use that because it is an irritant.
That guy, now, he never told me that, and I just want to take credit. I figured that out on my own.
Yeah. Got one. Yeah. Yeah, it is that and that is a manipulation to get you to consider something.
Mhm.
See, so yeah.
Everything's doing that isn't being, and for human beings, we are manipulative primates. I mean, we are
Just like
constantly
all the
linguistically
time.
and physically manipulating everything around us. Tigers have claws and zebras have stripes, but
Yeah.
we have abstraction and manipulation up to wazoo.
Yeah.
That's the
Up
kind of
the
being
wazoo.
we are.
Yeah.
And up it.
Yeah. So I think something I would invite the commenter, Mr. Red Anvil, to consider is that when listening to our podcast and the podcast, you know, sometime we'll use words, but remember to consider what is the experience of the person saying the words. Like, what do they actually mean? Like, I'm very like when I'm facilitating workshops, come do one of those. Um, I'm very careful to consider as best I can what is the experience of the person asking the question because they may use language that I will immediately associate with something what I think it is in my mind. But then I'll ask them about it, and I don't know. 9 times out of 10, when I question somebody, I was wrong about my initial assessment. Now, sometimes I'm right on, but a lot of times, nope. I might have it ballparked, but then they'll say something else. I'm like, oh, you're looking at that world. I thought you were looking at this world. Oh, that's totally different. So when we say manipulation, maybe go, what do we mean? Which is why I brought it up in the way that I did just now.
if can we look at a couple other distinctions in his question and see if we can make more sense of it?
Sure. And again,
Okay.
we don't know. We don't know what you mean,
Yeah. So he said
or I don't.
having to do with communication. So he was talking about manipulation as it relates to communication. I think seems like you guys are heavily leaning on the word phrase of manipulation. We use the word manipulation, having to, i.e., having to do with communication.
No, I don't.
So what is communication? How do you just
Oh, yeah.
about communication?
Yeah, communication. We don't have. I could make a distinction between manipulation and communication in a sense, although it is like something I'm doing. I'm communicating, but it seems like outside of the normal mode. It's just simply getting some one experience across from one being to another, and that's it. So, like, do I usually just regarding communication? I think 99% of the time, people aren't really communicating. They're usually reacting to what other people are saying.
Hmm.
So, I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah.
Communication is like just okay, maybe consider whenever you're talking to somebody, do you actually get their experience or are you just getting stimulated by what they say and then responding? And then that sounds bad, but I think mostly that's what we're doing. Like, when's the last time somebody said something to you and you really like, now what is that experience for you? Like, what is that really like? Or isn't it usually like they say something, you have a reaction, you say something back? It's like a bing, 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 bing. Is there anything getting communicated there, or is it just like entertainment? In the
or
ways that we're talking, communication. All right. Now, I'm not saying that like you're not communicating. Hey, we need to get here to this place. Do you know where it is? Yes, I'll see you at 3 o'clock. It's like that's pretty straightforward. Yes, that's communication, something getting across, but there isn't like you aren't getting their experience of looking at the map or, you aren't really,
no, you're just confirming. So there's uh like logistical communication, just
yeah,
making like clarification, and then there's like manipulating people to change their actions or their perceptions or their experience,
yeah,
which I think is what a lot of so-called communication is about. And then
yeah.
there's communication to get across an experience so that another person knows my experience or I know their experience.
And
And it's
that's what
just
we
that part.
call communication. It's that when something gets across, that is that,
So
like
in
at a base.
his thing, he said a little bit later on, he said see, we're trying to communicate. I'm trying to communicate. I'm looking at this thing and I don't understand what he means,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to communicate with him. So I'm trying to do my end of it, which is what does he mean? So we're looking at these particular words. I don't know if I'll be successful, but he says seems like he says good lord, it's hard. When are you that other people do? I think what he's saying. I think what he's saying
We're
is that all
speculating
the
again.
yeah, but he's talking about hyper responsibility. He says there's some
Oh,
kind of a bias.
is
Other
that it?
people do not have free will. And and communication is a complex topic. We see other people as sort of victims, that sort of communication is all up to us, and so we're taking on this like hyper responsibility or too much responsibility. And mm,
Let's say
if that's what he's saying, and I don't know if that's what he's really saying,
we don't know
but
what you're saying.
if that's what he's really saying, I'm sure as hell not. I know that you and I are not promoting hyper responsibility about that.
No, communication takes two. Communication, the existence of communication requires at least two.
Hmm.
No two, no
No, come.
who you going to
It's unification or it's communication.
Who
Communism.
are you going to
Community.
communicate with?
Or you could take it the way I think you just took it.
We don't know. It's a mystery. See, and then even further, you need to have somebody to communicate with and a means to do so, which enter language. But the impetus for that is you and another you. Like not I mean not two of you, but two. You and another. Just existence wise. And we good news is we handle that pretty young, as far as I can tell. We get that to happen.
I lost you there. What do you mean?
You and I. You and another.
Oh, yeah.
Self and other.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Like no other, no you. No other, nobody to communicate with, ergo no communication would arise. That possibility just is a non-existent. So there's that. So are we promoting hyper responsibility? Well, maybe in a sense, yes, because it's already the case. You are the one who is responsible for the vast majority of your experience, but you just might not know that. So then that leads me to my next thought, which is one of the huge challenges in becoming more conscious is the danger of intellectualizing what's being presented versus actually discovering what's true for yourself. So we can speculate all day, and John and I are clear that the difference between masturbating mentally and actually taking a look. And I want to invite personally you all, if you're listening, you have to look into this stuff. You can't just buy what we say just because we said it, because you don't know. So I might say some stuff about communication, about the reality of communication, and then you have to look into it. And is that even true? Experientially, not like a thought. Like maybe you can use reason to consider, um, but you got to check it out. So, and how do you check it out?
Um, do
Come
a
do a
workshop.
workshop. And specifically, the Transcending Self workshop, we do a deep dive into language and the creation of the genesis of self and other and all that stuff. And man, I am lucky to have Peter around because he created these workshops. And I don't know, I knew he was smart when I started studying with him, but I didn't really know, like, because I'm getting ready. There's like the manual for the next workshops here. I'm getting ready for the next one, coming up here very shortly. And by the time I post this, it might even be happening. When I read the workshops is when I was like, holy shit, this guy,
Mm,
who the fuck creates that? Because I get to
mm,
see like how he built that. And when I go like, he got all that and then made this work. Oh my God. How does somebody do that? He's a fucking smart cookie, as he would say. He's the dude is smart. How did he discover that? It blows my mind. That's when I really got it.
mm,
You know what I'm like? It's like I like and I maybe like in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you ever like, oh yeah, I know people are good. I know there's levels to this stuff, but then you actually roll with somebody who has the skill and you go, holy shit.
mhm,
Oh my God. The feeling of that is totally different than me just going, oh yeah, I know they're smart. No, it's like I got it. Oh my God. There's like
mm,
all of a sudden this whole or like Peter makes a thing where he sees his master up on the top of the hill, and so you go up to the top of the hill, but then when you get to that top you realize they're actually on a taller mountain, and so you have to
mm,
go down and up to the taller mountain, but the line of sight's the same. You just see them up there, but by the time you get to where they are you realize they're like so much further than you thought. something like
Mm.
that. I really got that when I started facilitating these workshops because like I was like, holy shit. Like, I don't
Have
know.
you have you told him that?
Yeah, at
Yeah.
least a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious what his response was.
Oh, I think he just yeah, like he knows. This matter of fact about it. It wasn't.
Does you say intelligence? I wonder if he thinks that that kind of intelligence can be developed and cultivated, or to some extent, intelligence is you get what you get, kind of like height.
Oh, I I know he firmly believes that you can if what one person can do, you can do.
Mm.
It just matters if you do it. And he was actually talking about this with apprentices last night or something like this. It's like one part of it is a lot of work. Um,
Mm.
but also an ability to bringing it back to the very beginning of this podcast, which is fitting, is like questioning. He questioned things, wondered about things, looked into things, not just standing on common, like the knowledge that's already there. It's like when we know things, we fix them into place and getting to wait. I actually don't know what this is. What is this? And then doing that a lot
Mm.
and applying intelligence and like that seems to make a difference. Like Leonardo da Vinci, Archimedes, Newton. These are people that worked on things. Or Peter's
Uh,
got a quote from Einstein that we use often is it's not that I'm any smarter than anybody else, it's that I stay with the problem longer than anybody
yeah.
else, which is again questioning, wondering, wanting to know, contemplation. We call that contemplation, and you do a fuck ton of that and you learn shit, to put it in crude terms. And it's the breakthroughs and the insights that make the leaps. Like when Peter talks about his insight in judo, his breakthrough, instantly his skill level, boom, huge domains open up. Or like, I had a breakthrough in leading, and then this whole world can open up about skill that other people just don't have because they don't know. And so it's or like Archimedes with the water displacement. Eureka! He's like, I get it now. Fuck, this is how it is. Ah. And then he can do shit. He understands. And how do you get that understanding? Lots of questioning, contemplating, wondering, ask questions, learn,
Mm.
have insights. And then this direct consciousness shit, I'm sure, doesn't hurt. Become directly conscious of your nature, the nature of objects, the nature of existence, all that shit. What we call an enlightenment experience, direct consciousness, not an insight, not learning, it's direct. There's this other, that's a real possibility. So all that combined together, sure, you'd be able to
Yeah.
understand shit about reality and make distinctions. I bet that would have you come off like a genius. Again, speculation, but I
You could write
figured
your own workshops.
write your own workshops, write your own books. Yeah.
Huh.
So I think that's a great place to wrap it up.
What did the grizzly say when it called customer service? Now, bear with me. Okie dokie.
Thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege serving you today. I'm Brendan Lee. This is John. If you want to get deep into some shit, come to a workshop. Navigate the website. Hit us up. Oh, ask more questions in the comments. Thank you for commenting. See you
Yeah.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.